It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to it, your feel-good show, Expresso here on SABC3. It's the midday edition. Thank you very much for making the time to join us and hanging out with us on this beautiful Wednesday midday. Now, a major live event that has faced many changes in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic is wedding celebrations. And as couples are starting to feel more comfortable with putting on a more scaled-back affair, we're being joined by founder of the Mosaic Wedding Company, Cara Lee Pearce, to find out more about what weddings are looking like under lockdown alert level 1. Cara Lee, good morning. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you.
This is fantastic because you started off as a wedding photographer back in 2008 before you decided to start the Mosaic Wedding Company.
Yes.
This obviously coming off of your connection with couples. Tell us about that journey and how you decided to start your own wedding planning company.
Yeah. Well, basically, obviously, as you said, I was a photographer, and just as the years went by, I was like, brides need help. They need help in in general in the whole day, and there's no one there, and you can't ask your mom or your bridesmaids to run off and do a whole bunch of things for you.
No, you can't.
So
although they would like to do that for you.
They would like to. No, you don't want them to do that. So I did a course in wedding planning and just slowly built my company from there. And 9 years later, here we are.
At the beginning of 2020, I remember this so well. In Jan, we were all seeing so many mood boards and inspiration of wedding trends to look out for in the brand new year. But of course, things quickly turned and went a bit south, in terms of COVID-19. What trends were forecasted, and what are some of the trends that we can still look forward to? What survived? How's the industry developed? How did it manage to survive and stay afloat during this entire time?
I mean, I think trends in general, they last for longer than a year. They always say the trend for 2019, the trend for 2020, but I do think that they constantly do overlap. Obviously, for us, large weddings, live music, gin bars, a lot of interaction. So obviously that has to take a back seat. So, making your wedding slightly smaller, and obviously taking the trends that were supposed to be wide and huge and for everyone to enjoy, they have to be scaled back, and we have to adjust those for the clients.
Speaking of scaling back, we've seen so many couples sort of scale back the number of people that they invite to their weddings, which a lot of couples are reporting has been a blessing in disguise for them, because they didn't have to then worry about who to invite, who not to invite. They could keep their guest lists quite small. But what other things are couples reporting to you and to the industry that have been sort of a blessing in disguise that has come through as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Definitely think money saving. Obviously, if you hadn't had to postpone your own wedding, you wouldn't have lost any money. So obviously, if you're legally being told that you have to have a small wedding now, that makes your budget obviously slightly less. And then you can, if you did have a big budget, you can use that budget to really put into something that you really want, really, extra things that you really wanted to have. Now you can definitely have them because your guest list is smaller, and you can now make sure your guests are comfortable, well taken care of, and that extra neon sign that you really wanted, now you can have it.
Well, speaking of all of that, I suppose splurging on other things, you do get couples who think that, the wedding that they've had during lockdown isn't quite the idea of a wedding that they wanted to have initially. Other couples saying that they want to have part two of their wedding, and how's that looking?
Well, I'm doing part 2 of my own wedding.
Wait, what wedding are you doing? Did you get married?
So we eloped last month.
Oh, word. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Come on, a huge round of applause for Cara Lee. Queen!
And so we eloped, obviously, but we obviously had to postpone our wedding from April this year to April next year. And we were just like, let's make something good come out of 2020 and let's elope, just us. It was just Andy and I, no one else was there.
Wow.
And we can still do our big wedding next year. So, and who doesn't want to have 2 weddings?
And this is fantastic, exactly, because who doesn't want to have 2 weddings? But let's talk about what weddings will then look like. Do you think that the future of weddings and parties, as we've known them to be pre-lockdown, will we ever go back to that place, or will things just continue to evolve and we just have to be on the lookout for a brand new way of doing things?
I think a little bit of both. I think sanitizing is always going to be a part of it, and I think that's not a big deal. It's not, wash your hands. It's just it's general hygiene. So I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. Obviously, the small numbers, I think will stay for a while. I think the 50 packs, the 90 packs are going to stay longer than the 300 packs weddings. I think we're going to see those continue for a while. But I think in general, people are re-looking at weddings and how you can have all the glitz and glam and all the flowers that you like. But at the end of the day, it really is about the marriage. And that, I think, is kind of coming to the forefront now.
I have to ask you this, okay? Are you going to be planning your own wedding?
Definitely.
Come on. Well, listen, Cara Lee, congratulations on that. But
Thank
also
you.
congratulations on being able to continue to really create such memorable moments for so many couples during lockdown. I mean, it was such a frustrating time. And I can imagine for so many people who planned to get married and knowing or finding out that you were not going to be able to do that in the way that you planned must have been quite frustrating.
Very.
What's your advice to all the couples that are watching right now who are sort of, you know, in the dark and not knowing, in the cold, not knowing what to do, where to go to next, how to plan for their wedding, how to start, if they should be looking at waiting for the COVID-19 pandemic to end first?
Yeah. I wouldn't say wait for the COVID pandemic to end because we don't know when that's going to be, and life needs to continue. You want to get married, you want to have babies, you want to have a house, you want to travel. You can't just wait it out. So obviously I'm going to say hire a planner.
Okay,
I mean,
cool. And which planner do we hire?
I mean, I think there's someone here. So yeah, hire a planner, but take it one step at a time and work within your budget, do what you can, and look at what you want and tick it off as you go. You don't need to do everything in one day.
I'm just looking here on my document. I mean, don't ask me where I got this document from, but there is definitely Capacity by Cara Lee. And all I'm saying is she will take calls and emails and those kind of things. How do they reach you?
So they can reach me on Instagram, which is just Mosaic Weddings, and my website's www.mosaicweddings.co.za.
This is fantastic. Now, we all know that one of the visual centerpieces of any wedding is the dessert. I mean, the cake is always a standout factor for any wedding, and usually in the form of a tiered wedding cake. And when we come back, we're going to be in the kitchen, really just taking in all the sweet things with Faiza Omar of the National Dessert Day, of course. So we'll see you after this.